So I'm going to do a very interesting, very different live. So I'm going to do a very interesting, very different live than you've ever probably experienced with me, because this live is going to be about the toxicity of hunting. And so I had a video, of course, that was banned by TikTok because they're great with that. It was a video I'd had for 2 years about what had happened in Yellowstone when they had dropped, I think it was about 20 wolves in Yellowstone. And because the wolves were allowed to roam through Yellowstone, suddenly a whole ecosystem exploded. It blew their mind because they had never thought of it. Just, they were trying to bring wolves back into Yellowstone, and they didn't think nothing really of it. But suddenly there was a balance that began, and suddenly birds started appearing, and suddenly rivers started developing, and suddenly all kinds of changes happened to the landscape of Yellowstone due to this pack of wolves that had been dropped in that part of the country. And it taught a lot of scientists and people like myself the benefits of wolves, because we had been trained to look at wolves as something to distrust and to fear. We're doing the same with wild horses, where we are actually culling horses. We are cruelly culling horses and putting them on trucks, not giving a fuck. They're not fed, they're not hydrated, and sending them to Mexico and Canada for meat. So, and it's always, the excuse is always, well, we have to we have to control the population and they're dangerous. And no, human beings are dangerous. I just saw a video of a man who was approaching a wolf that had been trapped. The eyes of the wolf were more human than most humans I've seen. And he was getting a strange sadistic pleasure from it. My concern with hunters, see, I respect how my great-grandfather used to hunt. And they hunted to eat. There were no kicking around, no torturing animals, no fucking going on and on and on. It was just boom, and we're bagging the prey, right? It was gone. It was no longer alive, okay? But when I'm seeing, okay, with everyone's little iPhones or little droids running around, is I'm seeing weak men, like usual, because only bullies are weak. They're usually weak men. They call themselves alpha male because they think they can put their little outfits that they love to buy because it makes them feel like men. But these weak men go out and prey on innocent animals like cub wolves and torturing these animals so they can get likes. And I know that there was cruelty in the planet, like I'm fully aware. I mean, all we have to do is see Gaza. But more and more I'm seeing how, and I'm calling men out, I'm calling women out. There's no flex in unaliving a giraffe, a deer, a wolf cub, a bear in its lair, in its cave, hibernating. You're not doing it for anything else but flex. And apparently you bring your camera so you can actually look like a man. It's kind of like small men in big trucks. So there's no need for doing that because there's no survival need. What was interesting about the indigenous people of any part of the world, not just this country, because there's indigenous people all over the world, is if they did hunt a wolf, they would eat and use every part of the body, including the bones, for arrowheads and whatever else they were using it for. But every part was used. And that kind of honesty and honor I don't see. I see a lot of sadism. I'm not kidding. I'm seeing a lot of sadistic men. Weak Zeta males who are sadistic, who are hiding behind their viewpoint, that they're doing something great for the environment. And no matter how you slice it, it shows weakness. And it shows something that is actually so concerning to me, because when you get the taste to do that, to torture an animal, you get a sense of godlike power that's very sadistic. The next thing is you're going to want for a bigger prey. And you know what I'm saying. I hope you know what I'm saying, because I'm not trying to be fucking subtle about it. And that is a concern. Massive concern. Ultimately, we have fucked with the system so badly, with the ecosystem so badly, that we're trying to recalibrate it. But I'm going to see if I can find that video on how the Yellowstone wolves saved the ecosystem in Yellowstone. And there's a whole series of books written about the Yellowstone wolves. There's a massive respect for them, as there should be. Just like we should have massive respect for wild horses, instead of treating them like they're vermin, which is what cattle ranchers and other ranchers, whatever the hell they are, that think that they have more right over the land than the burros and the wild horses. There's an arrogance and an entitlement over planet Earth that is actually toxically disgusting, selfish, and ultimately, there's a way to share the land, and there is a way. And what it is they don't want to, because they want the grazing rights, they want this, they want that on public land, and we have actually allowed this to go on and on and on. The energy and the karma that comes from allowing this is very, very powerful. And I'm not saying that to say that, to be dramatic. You reap what you sow. You reap what you sow, okay? There are a lot of things we need to start talking about. We need to talk about politics, infrastructure, the abuse of hunting, and how it's used, and why it's used, and the kind of human beings that are being created from that, okay? Children being exposed to taking their first life, meaning, you know what I'm saying, right? I'm not going to say that too much in details, but when you take an 8 or 9-year-old, unless they're doing it to survive, which they're not, let's be honest, they're not, you're creating something in that child that is completely destroyed. I saw a kid that had raised a lamb, okay? And the lamb now was being sold to be, consumed, right? And the kid was bawling his eyes out. He was 8 years old. That's some traumatic shit. To force a kid to have to experience that kind of trauma. It's massive PTSD. Okay, no joke. There's no weakness in caring for another life, whether it is in the recognizable form of a human being or another sentient being in fur, fin, or feather. It shows compassion. It shows heart. And there's no reason. Go to the goddamn supermarket and get yourself your T-bone steak. It's right there in the freezer section of any supermarket in America, right? It's a joke, really. Because, and I'm going to tell you something, I had one of my people was here working on the furnace last year. And he said he had some New Yorkers coming in, city boys, who didn't know how to fucking shoot to save their life. Came in, knocked on his door saying that they had done something very harmful to a deer. It was still trashing. It had no legs, and he had to put it out of its misery because city folks wanted to act like men, like hunters, like they knew what they were doing. And instead, this animal suffered for hours until they were able to find someone, him, to come out and do what a person that's trained to do, which is to do it correctly. It's kind of like repulsive. And whoever you guys are that are thinking you're doing something great for the land, you guys aren't land takers. You're not taking care of the land. You're destroying the land. You're destroying the energy of the land. You're creating fear in the land. You're creating havoc in the land, chaos in the land. You are a disgrace to the land. You are the reason why the land is suffering. Get some education. Because if you think you know what you're doing, you don't. What I love to hear, and I've heard many times, is literally hunters becoming vegetarians. Something clicked. Something clicked in them. And apparently, these people out there, something's not there. There's a twisted screw, something, there's a light bulb missing, there's a switch that's on the off button. Whatever it is, it doesn't make you an alpha male. It makes you a zeta, not even a beta. Anyway, I want to send you much love, you guys. You know where I'm coming from, okay? You know where I'm coming from. We are the caretakers of the land. We are the ancient shamans who have reincarnated back. We are the reincarnated way showers of the ancient times of Lemuria and Atlantis. We are the ones who know, who see the same abuses being perpetuated again and again with the same toxic, narcissistic, gaslighting abuse. We know what this is, and we know what is real and what is true, and we know what your sickness is. And your sickness is that you like to take lives. You don't like to build things. You want to destroy things because you have such self-hate, self-loathing, that you get a flex out of doing something on an innocent creature crying out, howling for its mate, and you feel okay by taking that life. And taking a life, maybe you should watch the movie The Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood. It's a hell of a thing to take something, to take a life. You're taking everything they got, everything they'll ever be. It's one thing to do that. It takes no fucking skill set. It's a cowardly way. But it's another way to take a broken human being, a broken animal, a broken situation, a broken land, a toxic land that's been harmed by people like you, and to build it up and to heal it. Like these people who 20 years ago decided to plant trees. And now they've changed the ecosystem where their birds, rivers have appeared out of nowhere. I mean, literally, rivers, streams, birds, deers, wolves, foxes. Just because they started building trees, thousands of trees. It took them 20 years. Another guy did it, and it took him 40 years. That takes magic. But you'd rather destroy than to build. You'd rather harm than to heal. And harming something is nothing to talk about, nothing to actually document. I want to hear the stories of the people that have created gardens, that have actually planted trees in the wilderness, that have actually helped, build up the fox. Like right now, I live in a place where there's no opossum. They're all gone because people are so busy driving fast and driving over them like they don't mean shit. And guess what eats ticks? Because we have Lyme disease rampant where I live. Fucking possums. They're the biggest eaters of ticks. But the very predator of ticks has been destroyed by the arrogance and the lack of fucking, care by human beings. Because they think they're so important. Because everything they do is so much more important than any animal's life. It's disgusting. And any man that goes outside, and woman, because they're out there, these weird ass fucking women that want to act like a man and be badass and wear their false lashes and their long nails with their little pew-pews and act like they're badass, little Sarah Connor. Well, Sarah Connor was trying to save humanity. What are you fucking doing? I'm more impressed with people who want to heal the planet and bring it back to where it was 3,000-4,000 years ago than people who want to just keep destroying it and making excuses. Trying to control the population of wolves, coyotes. My God, you'd be hunting bald eagles if it wasn't outlawed. There's a sickness in you. You hate yourself, and that's why you're doing it. Wake the fuck up, because you are parasitical energy on the planet. For all of you who support me and support this, sending you much love on your journey. And we'll make it right. We are all walking towards the new earth, and hunters aren't allowed because they're not a frequency match. Hunters don't match 5D. Hunters match the matrix. Enjoy your matrix. Enjoy the planet that you fucked up for so many years, decades, that now people like us have to take back control so that we can heal the planet. Namaste. Sending